All right. Seems like the problem inside has been suppressed.
Let me guess, we're safe for now.
Indeed. But only for now.
I win this bet. You owe me a present.
Very well. It was indeed just as you said.
You made a bet?
We made a bet on the size of your entourage. Cloran thought you wouldn't come down by yourself.
I figured you would have at least brought a few people along for appearance's sake. It appears I underestimated just how confidential the mission was.
Shouldn't you have gotten used to confidential missions by now? That's just how the courts operate.
So what gift must the loser give? Tea?
He already has tons of...
That wouldn't happen to be a dig at my lack of legal awareness, would it?
Well, I'm sure His Grace doesn't consider the fortress to be outside the law.
I was under the impression the residents of a place like this would be
That was obviously a joke. Anyway, you've still got some unfinished business to it.
No need to stay here if you have a pressing matter. We all know you can't leave Palais Mermonia for long.
Thank you. I hope everything went smoothly with the Fatui Harbor.
I must say, Miss Farina, as the Hydro Archon, I am sure you understand the exact meaning of the phenomenon we just witnessed. Or should I say, that's what I originally thought. But looking at your expression, was I wrong? And you haven't a clue?
What are you trying to say?
At this point, I don't think there's any more need to speak as diplomatic representatives. Allow me. Yet, here you are, relaxed. The prophecy's hanging above our necks like a guillotine. Every faction is looking for a way to either avert, but you? It beggars belief just how nonchalant and carefree you have been. From the very beginning.
You're wrong. I've never ignored the prophecy, nor have I just been passing the time.
I am not alone in my doubts, you know. All the children of... Oh, great Hydro Archon. How are you going to save them? Save us? How are the people you've sworn to protect supposed to survive in a land that will soon disappear beneath the waves?
I have my ways, and I've been working on them for all this time. You have no right to judge me! Fontaine will be saved. Even if...
Then I ask you, Miss Farina, just what have you been working on? Where can...
My machinations are just like the prophecy itself. They will only reveal themselves at the fated time.
I see. As a god, the proof of your labor always lies beyond prying mortal eyes. Allow me to be so bold as to ask another way. Would it be possible for you to tell us the parts of your plan that are not confidential?
An emergency.
Oh, that look in your eyes. Have you not even prepared one of those?
The emergency response plan is also strictly confidential.
Then allow me to jog your memory. Miss Farina, what is the purpose of your Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal? And what do you plan to do with the massive amounts of indemnitium that has accumulated over the years?
The Oratrice? It's just...
So you also have no idea. If I'm not mistaken, I first caught wind of this when Linny tried to investigate the Oratrice in the Opera House. You see, even just getting close to the core contaminated him with an extremely large amount. But even if that had nothing to do with you, then what could you possibly be... Oh, right. I almost forgot. Udex Nouvillette is not...
Yeah, yes, that's
Of course I will. Although, I must say, Miss Farina, you see... Oh, very well. Let's stop that conversation here. There are still a few slices of cake left. Traveler, I heard that you were recently commissioned to handle a few matters on behalf of the Udex. Why don't you take an... You too,
Thank you. Oh, Paimon's.
If it's on my tea table.
You're welcome. I'm sure the cake also felt greatly honored to be featured at Miss Farina's table. It is getting late. Why don't we call it a day?
Very well. Well,
Mind seeing me off, Traveler? We could use the opportunity.
Paimon's coming.
I'm glad that you were willing to come with me. Of course, child.
That's what Paimon thought.
You lent your aid to the children of the House of the Hearth. As their father, I would like to express my That was all. Formal topics should be discussed informal. I know you just returned from the fortress of Meripede. Relax. I have no intention of trying.
They've all been working very hard and have always done all they can to fight back against.
You mean Wriothesley. He's a tricky one to deal with. By the way, and you can just consider this a bit of... You are outside of our disputes, and the freest person in all of Fontaine, able to move around most...
And that's everything that happened during the trial. Master Child was declared guilty and immediately...
Didn't he say he was coming here on vacation? Does he not feel an ounce of shame for all the trouble he has caused? Forget it. He did give us an opportunity. I will be meeting someone shortly.
Do you require help with any preparations?
No need. I will take care of it myself. I need to meet with Farina, the Hydro Archon. She is at the heart of Fontaine.
oh, come over here, you little critter, you. You dare to run from me?
My goal is just to discover the location of the Gnosis. But I didn't expect the chance to approach Farina to be handed to me on a silver platter. Anything left unguarded is usually just bait. But no one will blame... It's just as I guessed in the second before I struck. The Hydronosis is not currently held. In fact, this Archon doesn't seem like a god.
Who are you? And what are you trying to do? Please don't kill me. I'm begging you, please.
The fear in her pupils is genuine. So perhaps she's not bait after all. I left the scene with ease. Nobody came looking for me, and nobody could serve as a witness to my near assassination of Focalor. Not long after, my informants confirmed what I had guessed. After returning to her quarters, Farina quietly cried alone. She was so scared that she could not sleep that night. There's no doubt that there's something wrong with her. I began to entertain the possibility that she is not the true Hydro Archon. Perhaps Udex Neuvillette is actually the genuine article. I have to find the Gnosis. If the Neuvillette hypothesis is correct, he is probably in possession of it.
Yes, Father.
My dear children, please speak.
News from the Fortress of Meripede. Master Child has gone missing. On top of that,
Probably the handiwork of that Wriothesley.
I'm afraid so.
This is a good opportunity. The value of a Harbinger is much higher than most would imagine. We now have an excuse to exert diplomatic pressure on the Fontaine authorities. Set up a meeting for me. I would like to meet the Hydro Archon and Udex Neuvillette. Oh, and I have...
Yes, Father.
Tartaglia's disappearance was not a part of my plan, but I can use it to make a break. The initiative belongs to the House of the Hearth. My wish to investigate the fortress of Meripede will be... You should know the rest. Lenny's group is quite close to you, so...
You attacked the Hydro...
It wouldn't mean anything, even if you shouted it from the rooftops. After all... I've now had 2 chances to enjoy tea with Farina. I have to say, the leadership of Fontaine is even more inscrutable than I had imagined. I am a servant of Her Majesty the Tsaritsa. Over my years of service, I've learned how a real Archon conducts and carries themselves. Whether Eudex Nuvil... Of course, that is all just how I feel. Gut feelings often do not require justification. It is, however, quite amusing to me that after all my years working in intelligence gathering, I've come to realize I am at a complete loss regarding the identity of the god of the land of my birth. Don't you think Fontaine is quite intriguing? A catastrophe looms, yet many... Ultimately, though, one must survive in order to do anything else. You don't need to commit to anything right now, of course. I have a feeling that the situation will continue to evolve, and as your name is often connected with noble deeds, I'm sure we will work together someday. He certainly returned quickly.
Neuvillette?
For now, yes. But this issue will prove quite thorny in the long term. Thank you for protecting Farina. To put it simply, I used my power to force... So as expected, the knave has turned up the pressure on permission granted.
Whoa. It can't be that you're the real Hydro Archon. You can't tell us?
If by the phrase, you guys, you are referring to Farina and I, then although I'm not sure just what you are trying to imply, I must clarify that I do not. The fortress has a long and complex history. And now, another catastrophe will soon be upon us. I mourn.
Huh? What?
You may be closer to the truth than you think.
Oh? And what are you thinking? The dragon of... Huh?
Please do not be so surprised. Farina.
Neuvillette?
My apologies.
We were just guessing randomly. We didn't guess right, did we? You're not a...
You guessed correctly. I sincerely hope you'll be able to keep this a secret for me.
Right, of course. We'll definitely help you keep it a secret. There's still some...
Please, go ahead.
Well, if you are the Dragon Sovereign of Water, and you were able to force back the primordials, then since Fontaine's prophecy is all about seawater...
None of the currently living dragon sovereigns in the world, myself included, possess our full dragonhood. They say that when the first usurper arrived on Tivat, they seized a part of the dragon's power. Today, that stolen power is the basis of the Archon's authorities.
There are 7 elemental Archons and 7 matching dragon sovereigns.
The dragon sovereign of water who lived through that era perished a long time ago. As their successor, I know far less of that part of our ancient history. In any case, I believe I will not be able to do much unless the Archon disappears and returns their elemental authority to me. Given the status quo, however, I would recommend finding another way.
Oh, so we've...
I still have some urgent matters to attend to at my office. If you have any more...
Please go right ahead. There's a place that Paimon wants to go too. Traveler, why don't we pay another visit? We'll see you another time.
Take care.